What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one we're going to talk a little bit about one of the players that we really almost need to have a breakout season in year two. Somebody that I think has a lot of potential. A lot of Colts fans think has a lot of potential. And just going through the numbers, I just want to see more. I want him to get on the field more. Of course, you could tell, I'm sure by the thumbnail and the title, we were talking about Laiatu Latu today and talking about how effective can he be for us in 2025. And again, we're going to need him to, right? We just had a video. Our last video was a video about the three most important, in my opinion, the three most important players we're going to have on defense: Grover Stewart, Nick Cross, and Cam Bynum. Right? I think those three guys, and again, you can make a case for all 11, but I think those three guys are going to be like the most vital to the success of the defense overall. But of course, it's the most team game of all team games, football is. So when you look at the defense, you need the other pass rushers. You need those guys on the edge to really come alive, something we really haven't had happen for a few years, right? Justin Houston had some success in that regard. Kwity Paye has gotten up to 8 sacks. Dio Dingbo, I believe, got up to 8 sacks. Right, DeForest Buckner always gets 8 plus typically. And so, like, we can get after the passer, just not consistently enough, right? So you need the pressure rate to be higher. You also need to have more sacks, right? Sacks in a lot of different cases almost count as a turnover, right? It's a great way to stop a drive, great way to put the defense in a very advantageous position, be able to be aggressive and go after an offense that's likely going to have to pass the ball after they've been sacked. So with Latu, looking at last year, he ended up playing 618 snaps, and the Colts defense played a lot of snaps, and he was on the field for 53.46% of the snaps that the Colts played on defense. So, and that right there tells you a lot, right? It was somewhere right around like 1178 or something like that, some ridiculous number of snaps that the Colts defense ended up playing. And Latu plays 53.46%. And honestly, the stats, when you look at it just by the stats, like, it's not like we're looking at anything incredible, right? He was in 17 games. He had 31 total tackles, 4 sacks, 1 pass defended. He ended up with 3 forced fumbles, which is incredible, right? Going after the ball, being opportunistic. So need that to continue. But as he continues to go after the quarterback, those numbers will come up, right? So this is, if he plays more, right? If you go from a rotational player, because Gus Bradley can't just play his best players, Lou Anarumo is going to play his best players. Like, the best 4 on the defensive line are going to be on the defensive line most of the game. That's just how that goes. You look traditionally at what he was doing in Cincy, Latu should be on the field a lot, like a lot. And that'll let him get into a rhythm in the game. It'll let him be able to find ways to affect the game, and it'll let him continue to get NFL experience, right? He doesn't get as much experience as he should last year, of course, in a defense that wasn't performing well. But I do think if he plays 68% instead of 53%, honestly, defense probably does better. I think he probably ends up with better stats, right? Like Jared Verse played more snaps by, I'm pretty sure, a wide margin. He played more snaps, and their numbers weren't that far apart in the regular season, right? So what he provides, I think anybody that's really watched the Colts play last year and really has paid attention a lot to, he's one of those guys that just moves on the field. He's different on the field. He moves different, right? So I think going into this next year, what we saw from last year, like, can translate to better things. And I think in this defense, with it being more aggressive, and with us, 25% of the time or so, likely to be sending some sort of blitz, right? And I think that will help get Latu in a lot of really good, advantageous positions. Of course, DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart as well. On the other side, likely Kwity Paye, right? What's the rotation going to look like this year as we go in is going to be very interesting to watch. Very interested to get the training camp so that I can really see it with my own eyes and how they're going to kind of work it. And of course, how they work it in practice might not be how they work it in a game when you're just trying to get guys reps, but nonetheless, Latu, he's a guy that I think we're all on the same page. Right, let me know if I'm wrong down in the comment sections, but I feel like we're all on the same page where Latu's a guy, if you play him, you let him be a part of the game. You let him continue to get experience. This is a guy that, as a rookie, we were talking about double-digit sacks, and I try to tell people at the beginning of the year, like, temper your expectations. Gus Bradley uses a rotation. He's probably not going to get double-digit sacks because he's not going to play enough to get double-digit sacks. That's exactly what happened. So this upcoming year, I think there's going to be an opportunity with some experience, some knowledge of, hey, this is what I need to expect coming into the season. These are things I need to do. These are things I need to change, right? Continuing to become a pro and continuing to learn under the veterans in that defensive line room. So coming into, again, coming into 2025, the impact that he's going to be able to have if he's playing 85 to 92% of the snaps, which I think is very possible, if not more, like 95%. I could see him being on the field like somebody that is just like an every down kind of weapon. I really feel like he's a guy that can play like that for us and that he can do that for us. So coming in 2025, that's what I expect, right? And if he's able to do that, right, if he's doing that in Lou Anarumo's defense, 12 sacks seems perfectly realistic for Laiatu Latu. When you look at everything else we have, like the only reason he wouldn't get 12 sacks is because DeForest Buckner's beating him to the quarterback, or Grover Stewart's beating him to the quarterback because they have a shorter, distance to go, and they're going to have one-on-one opportunities. Or maybe the blitz gets home, Kenny gets a sack, Zaire gets a sack, Nick Cross gets a sack, right? Wherever the blitz may come from, that might be the only reason Latu, but he's somebody that I expect to have a huge year, somebody that I expect to have a big impact on what the defense is able to do, and somebody that I really like. Like when you talk about breakout players for the Colts in the 2025 season, like we need Latu to be that. We need Latu to be that, right? Not only do we just need a first round pick to be the guy at some position, right? I think at that point, that's where we're at. We need one of these first round picks to look like a first round pick, please. Okay. But nonetheless, right, I think Latu is going to be the guy that will come out and look the part. I think he's got all the talent. And I think he's got the football IQ. I think he's got the drive. And he's somebody that, again, has some really good veteran leadership around him. So really have a lot of faith in what he's going to be able to do. Have a lot of high expectations for Latu coming into the season and him being on the field a decent bit. Really hopeful for that. So we'll see if that happens. You let me know what your expectations are for Latu. You tell me down in the comment section what you think his season is going to look like. How much does he play? What's his sacks looks like? How much of an impact does he have on the defense? You let me know down in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. And of course, if you enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.